Guys, congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
How was your experience at Cannes, first and foremost? Because going to Cannes is a big deal anyway.
Yeah.
For the glamour, for the glitz and all that kind of stuff. But then when you have a film and a film like this, it must have been quite an experience similar to what you probably had making the film.
Yeah, honestly. For me, it was the first, like, this is my first film, so Cannes was my first, like, anything kind of going
started
into
like
in the deep end.
First film straight to Cannes. Like, to be fair, babe,
it was mental, like, to go. But I think I was so nervous beforehand of like the glitz and the glamour, as you say, and then I got there and everyone was just like a geek, and like everyone was the same as me, where it was just like they were dressed up all nice and they were like, do you know what I mean, they act in a way. And then when you started talking to them, they were just so excited about films, and I was like, this is fine, I can handle this.
you went and saw loads, didn't you?
Yeah, I did loads. I spent like ages just like hunting things down. I made the most of my time. Yeah, I really liked it. It was really fun.
I was terrified, like, genuinely. But then as the day went on, when it came to the red carpet in the evening, I was like genuinely excited and a bit more chilled. But I did, it was a bit like, oh my God. It was unexpected, I think, and just surreal.
Yeah. I was just talking to Molly about, when this is showing my age, when I was a teenager, these kind of films were kind of made as like comedies. It was about the side of it where it was like, go and have a laugh and going large, like Kevin and Perry and all that kind of stuff. Whereas now it feels like, I wish I had this kind of film when I was a teenager. How important do you think it is that those stories kind of evolve and become, you kind of move with the times, and like this film very much talks about the things that people want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, like I'm 22, and I think even when I was like 16, 17, this didn't exist. Like there was nothing like this. Like similar to like you said, there was either comedies or there was so like raucous and horrible that they were disgusting to watch and they didn't feel like real life. I think this is a perfect middle ground where there's elements of funny in it, there's elements of like humour and like light, and then there's also those sections that are so real and so true that you do take something away from it, which I think is really important. But I think it's immense. Like my younger cousin's coming to see it today. I think it's immensely important that younger people see this so that you don't have to experience it and then go back and watch it. Do you know what I mean? I think watch it first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for young actors such as yourself, how important are stories like this? Because, there's things that we talk about these things, but sometimes cinema's been a little bit slow to kind of keep up and tell these stories. Whereas now it feels like people are able to go through that and tell the stories. How important do you think this is for, not just for kids of your age or people of your age, but older people as well who might have had similar experiences when they were a teenager?
I think it's kind of maybe, forcing people to kind of look a bit inwards. I think it's a film that really makes you reflect, and it can have kind of really strong reactions, like in both camps. I think sometimes, Molly's said, like,
she's had a lot.
Women that have come over to her and been like, thank you for making this film. And then, people who've kind of find it hard to swallow, and it's but I think it's a really important film. It's also kind of about friendship and, coming of age and the pressures we feel. I think especially in the climate now with like TikTok and social media, it's a brilliant film to kind of, bring awareness to things that shouldn't be taboo.
Yeah, I think it's amazing that we get to tell these stories now of like these niches that I think before were kind of like rolled over very, very quickly, or they were kind of pushed to the side a little bit. I love the fact that we get like whole 2-hour things of just exploring that topic and the intricacies of that topic. I think it's so necessary, and I think it's brilliant to be acting and doing it now because they're just becoming ever more present, I think, which is it's the kind of stories you want to tell, I think, when you read them.
Did this kind of take you back to your teenage years? Did you have an experience like, not necessarily in terms of what Tara goes through in this, but in terms of the going on a holiday and having all of that kind of stuff? Did this kind of take you back? It must have been strange if it took you back, but also then to go and make a film in amongst all of that stuff going on for real.
Yeah, I think for me, I never had really one of these holidays, so I think it kind of just took me back, like seeing us all kind of in costume and like the awkward things of like your top not fitting and your boobs kind of hanging out, or like your skirt being a little bit too short, like things like that took me back to being like 16 and like hiding from like my dad on my way out of the house, like going to a party. So I think there's lots of little like elements of it that I think anyone, even if you haven't been on one of these holidays, I think anyone can relate to, because it is, like Lara was saying, it is about friendship, it is about like connection and like womanhood. And I think every single person is going to relate to that, whether you've been to Malia or not.
Yeah. I mean, I went to Spain. We were going to go to Magaluf, and then I think we were just like, let's go Spain. Like, and then, but yeah, we definitely found like where the party was. And I think, you know, what's interesting about the group and just the girls as a trio, but then also when they meet the guys, is like how the dynamic shifts, which is so relatable when you've been in like a girl group. I grew up in like a big girl group at school, and like you kind of do have these roles, and then they swap and shift, and then I think by the end of the film you realise there's been a real change that's happened, even with just themselves. They feel changed, don't they, by the holiday.
Yeah. Very quickly before my time runs up, I'm talking to you as we're going through London Film Festival, and I've asked the other guys this: what's your kind of cinematic beginning? What's the film or the performance or the theatre stage or anything that you saw that made you want to take on the path of going into acting?
Goodness. I don't know. I was just saying earlier, the first film I properly watched, like I remember sitting down and watching, was What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and I remember properly like drawing focus on that, and it's boring in a lot of senses, and I didn't realise that could be so exciting, like that kind of like mundanity. I thought that was incredible. So yeah, I think for me that was a massive like pull to, I don't just want to live in Birmingham and kind of just live that life. I want to be able to explore these different things I'm never going to get to see. Yeah. So yeah, I think that for me.
Mine was, because I grew up in Nottingham, my mum took me down to London to watch Mamma Mia on the West End.
Nice.
And I was like, I was only 10, and I was like blown away by like the smiles, how happy. I was like, this is their job.
Yeah.
I want to do this and be this happy.
Yeah.
But then saw recently was like, that's the name of like a book. Like I bought into their smiles. Just seeing, but yeah, I think it was that.
Amazing.
So
Fantastic. Well, guys, congratulations on the film. Hope it all goes really well for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey you guys!
Hey, you guys!